I just wanted to start this episode off with one quick acknowledgement before we even get into the announcing what episode it is and who's with us today and things like that. And that's a little after, only a day or so after me and Richard recorded the last podcast a couple of weeks ago. Something horrendous happened once again in Florida in the United States, in a place called Jacksonville. There was a mass shooting that involved some guys at a Madden tournament, EA's Madden game, and 3 people died, including the shooter, and 2 very popular streamers and professional Madden players were killed in this incident. It's disgusting. It needs to stop. We talk about this stuff far too often. It's a problem. We're not Americans, but, for God's sake, guys, do something about your gun laws. It's ridiculous. And it's really come home this time because it's happened at a video game event, and it's hard to ignore it when it's that kind of a horrible happening. And I just wanted to acknowledge that right at the top of the show. We all feel really awful about this, and our hearts go out to all the victims and all those affected by this tragedy. If you guys wanted to add anything, feel free.
I think you've said it all. I think it's just happening far too often. What's it going to take for them to change the laws? I think it's ridiculous.
I think when it happens over something as innocuous as a football game as well, it shows that it's not subject matter related. I mean, it happens over politics. It happens over. We've seen it in cinemas,
schools,
in schools.
Clubs.
It's just a cultural thing, isn't it? It touches everything. There's nothing that escapes it. It's horrendous.
I know it's a bit of a downer way to start the episode, but we wanted to launch that right at the top. And now we will get into Bxb'S Bits and Bobs, episode 54. And I'm very excited today to announce and introduce a brand new co-host for the show. Chris, humble gamer. How do you want to be introduced, mate?
Chris will do. Chris
is here. He's also known as the Humble Gamer on YouTube and on Twitch. He's already done 3 video reviews for us, as well as about 1 million plugs on his Twitch stream, I believe.
I've done a
somewhere
few.
Around that number.
I've done a few, yeah.
Whenever I show up, it's weird. He does a whole bunch of plugs. It's funny that. It's almost like he wants to impress. But he's been great so far. And yeah, Chris, tell us a little bit about who you are as a gamer, where you come from, what brought you into it, and what we love about it.
Well, in terms of gaming, I started really with the PS1. I think the first game I ever played was Rayman, and I remember thinking I tried it in a Curry's store when it was just Curry's, not Curry's PC World. It was just Curry's, and I tried it in a Curry's store, and I remember thinking, "There's no way graphics are going to get any better than this." This was the original PS1 Rayman, so and yeah, I got into it through there, and I sort of just been playing it. I was a PlayStation guy, so flame in the chat. I was a PlayStation guy for a long time, and then I switched to PC at university, and I just sat down one night, and a friend of mine had shown me a little-known YouTuber called Markiplier, and I just really liked the idea of entertainment through video games, and so I thought, well, I'm going to be sat here doing gaming for God knows how many hours a night anyway, might as well do something useful with it. And so I started the YouTube channel, did a few Twitch things to begin with, and then that sort of fell by the wayside. And then when YouTube did its big announcement, what was it, in January this year, the whole 1,000 hours and 1,000 subs or whatever it was that most of us small channels were never going to get, I thought, yeah, I'll swap back to Twitch, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I just play games for the fun of it. I don't pretend to be very good at them. I don't claim to be immense at them, but I just play games because I enjoy playing games, and hopefully people enjoy watching me and occasionally listening.
You've done some really sort of like cool idea, like long formed projects, and you're around the world in 80 in-game days, or that's right, isn't it? That caught my eye.
That was a stupid idea from the start. I don't know why I did it. But it was.
That's why you do it. That's why you do it. That is why. It looks amazing.
It's just because I think we've got to the point now with video games where it's kind of like where movies got to in sort of like the 70s and 80s, and literature got to, oh God, hundreds of years ago. You kind of think, right, what can I actually do? What can we do with them now? Where can they go next? And I just thought, okay, let's see if I can travel around the world following Jules Verne's route as closely as possible using purely video games. And obviously, you have to, there were gaps. I couldn't do all the sea journeys because while Ship Sim is a good game, it's not a complete game. But yeah, it was literally me just going, can I do that? And I could, apparently. So yes, there are other adventures coming. One's coming at Halloween, then one's coming at Christmas, and then I've got a few planned. Pardon me, a few planned for next year. So.
So while we're plugging, you just mention what your YouTube and your Twitch channels.
Yeah. You can check out all the stuff that we've just discussed here around the world in 80 days. You can check out the full movie on Twitch at twitch.tv/HumbleGamerTwitch. I stream Sundays, Mondays, and Fridays. There won't be any streams this week because I am on holiday. And I do YouTube as well, youtube.com/HumbleGamerTube, where you get 2 videos a day, Monday to Friday from 7:30. So
awesome. And obviously now 3 videos and many more to come. As many as I send you, basically.
Yeah, basically.
You'll do reviews.
You send me games, you'll get them reviewed.
That's cool, man. We'll talk about those games specifically quite soon. But I just want to obviously introduce as well our longtime co-host. It's just been me and him for the last, 3 or 4 episodes. Richard's here as well today.
Hello. It's been so lonely, isn't it? It's nice to have a new person.
It is. Well, we miss Joel. Joel is still absent on his extended family-based vacations and trips and birthdays and stuff. I think he'll probably be back potentially for the next one, which should be great. But yeah, so he's been away. But yeah, Richard, how have you been?
I can't remember where I was last time we spoke, but probably not much better.
Positive.
Yeah. Gonna be a downer, I think, for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, video games. That's why we do this, isn't it? To escape from real life.
And there's been some good ones, and I've been playing them. You haven't, but I have. So, and I'm your host as always. It's me, Ben, and we'll get into some stuff in a minute. So I want to do a little test for Chris. Richard, you can join in as well if you want to help him out. With some of these. Now, these questions are mostly from my mind, so they are varied and weird, and I fact-checked the answers. But I've tried to think about the things that I know Chris is into a little bit, and I want to see if he can prove his gaming mettle a little. Yeah, this obviously depends on a lot your future career with Bxb'S games.
Of course, yeah.
He's obviously dependent on the answers. There is a passing grade, but I'll only mention that and only tell you what it is after the test has been completed.
That's absolutely fair.
So are you ready for question number 1?
Yes, let's do this. Let's get the embarrassment out of the way.
What was the name of the dev who created arguably the first mainstream walking sim, Dear Esther?
Oh, Christ. Oh, this is
Richard doesn't look like he's got it either. Just saying.
Started badly. This has started badly.
I think I got it.
You think Richard thinks he's got it?
Oh.
Do you have an answer? Do you have an answer, Chris?
Oh, no, I don't, and that's embarrassing. I don't. I'll pass.
It's not embarrassing. Don't worry. It's just fun. But go on, Richard. Go on, Richard.
Chinese room.
You are correct, Richard. Well done.
Nice.
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. This one could be an easier one. I'm not sure. Okay. What game created by Derek Yu kickstarted the modern love for roguelike games? Silence.
It is fair at this point as well. It is fair at this point that I point out I am in the industry, not of it. I don't know.
Ask him a Rayman question.
I don't. Yeah, ask me a Rayman.
Yeah, I didn't know he liked Rayman.
I'll still get that wrong. I'll still get that wrong.
I had no idea about Rayman. I had no idea. I just thought he liked simulator games. That was basically.
Yeah, I do. I don't know shit about them. I just like them.
Richard, do you have an answer? Spelunky. That's 2-0 to Richard. It's now become competitive between the two of you. It was originally just for Chris, but
it has never been and will never be for the. It won't be competitive. I promise you.
Who is the voice actor of Master Chief in the Halo franchise?
I haven't got a fucking clue.
No idea.
No idea. Steve Downs. We'll go.
Me and Halo don't go well. Apart from that one time I played multiplayer with Halo with some mates at university, and their tank got stuck, and I figured out the easiest way to get their tank unstuck was to shoot it, and it worked.
That works surprisingly well, actually, in Halo. Yeah, we had to get a Halo question in there. We come from Xbox.
That's fair.
Background,
that's fair.
So we had to see your pedigree, and it's poor.
Yes, it
is. A little bit of a trick question here. The Nintendo Switch uses what kind of rumble in its controller? Silence.
I've only played it. I've only played on it once. Since you said it's a trick question, I'm going to go for the obvious trick answer of it doesn't have any rumble in its controller.
Well, it's wrong. It's cool. It's Richard.
Is it Ultra HD?
It's just HD Rumble. It's a
HD
trick question because they just made it up. I think.
HD
So,
Rumble.
Yeah. What is that? This is one you can get, Chris. This is one you can get. It's an Elder Scrolls question.
Oh, okay.
Elder Scrolls.
Yes. Okay.
In the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, who voiced Uriel Septim?
Uriel Septim was Patrick Stewart, I believe.
There you
Sir
go.
Patrick Stewart.
Very good.
He's got one. This is a slightly more difficult, and I'm expecting a best guess answer to this one.
Okay.
How many shouts can you collect? How many shites? And if it's how many shites you can collect in Skyrim, probably a lot. How many shouts can you collect in the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, including those in the DLC?
Including those in the DLC, I reckon.
And we'll go with who gets closest gets the point.
I'm gonna say, because I've got the big book and I've looked at them all, I'm gonna say it's probably somewhere around about the 23 mark.
Richard?
I've never played Skyrim, but I'm gonna.
What, hold on. You've never played Skyrim?
Never played Skyrim.
I was playing it on my Echo device. I mean, it's on everything. How have you never played it? How many times have you owned it, Richard?
I've got every single achievement on Oblivion.
Right. And how many times have you owned Skyrim and just never played it? Because I know what you're like.
Oh, no, never.
You don't even own it. That's shocking. I am shocked.
I'm going to play the numbers on this, though. I'm going to guess 22.
Do you want to guess 22? It's actually 27, so Chris gets the point.
Yeah.
What was the name of the game the first game released, by Supergiant Games? I'm a big fan of this, so I thought I had to put in a little Supergiant related question. So what was their first game?
Yeah.
Do you know any of their games?
I probably know the games, but I don't know that they're made by Supergiant. This is the problem.
Okay.
Richard? That would be Bastion.
Well done, sir. So we're going to go another one of my favorites now, but it's old school PC gaming, Chris. So you've got a chance. Okay. I've got two for here. It's kind of like a bonus point is available on this one.
Okay.
What was the name of the first map in the 1993 version of Doom?
Oh, fuck. This was the first game I ever played on PC.
I knew everybody's played Doom. Everybody loves Doom. This is that first level. What was the name of it?
The problem was I was about 7.
Well, your parents are terrible, Chris. I hope you know that.
They didn't know I played it. In fact, I'm not sure until if they happen to watch this, they still don't know I played it.
Oh, well, they do now. Get them to watch this.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me think. I know Doom reasonably well, as in I know what it looks like. I'm gonna.
Everyone should know this. Everyone's done it at least 10 times, haven't they?
Yep.
I'm gonna plump for The Facility.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that the right answer?
No, it's Hangar.
Shit.
Oh, well.
I believe The Facility is in the first episode.
Okay.
Collection of levels, but it's not the first level. So the bonus point was, can you name that famous piece of Doom music that plays during that first level? The bit that's basically the theme tune to Doom, the famous guitar riff, with that chiptune sound. Do you know the name of that track?
I know the track, but I couldn't name it. Anyone in the comments can name that? Anyone?
It's frightening that I could, I guess, to be honest. That's disturbing. It's at Doom's Gate. Doom's Gate. So, yeah, they were learning things today. Now, we're going to go real modern now. We're going to be talking about this game in a few moments when we go over what we've been playing and stuff in the last couple of weeks. So, who is the developer of the 2018 Spider-Man game?
Oh, I've seen loads of stuff about this.
Yep.
Oh, God.
You know, don't you, Rich? Yeah.
I know who it is. Yeah. Oh shit! What is their name?
Oh, come on! Who also developed Sunset Overdrive?
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Many other games.
That's frustrating. That is frustrating. If I had a white towel, I'd throw it.
Richard, do you got anything?
Oh no, they did Ratchet and Clank.
Oh no, don't do that to me. That's really frustrating.
Oh, dear. Famous. What are they called? I know everything they've done. What are they called? Oh, that's so annoying.
It's Insomniac. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Now, this is the final question, and this is an Inside Baseball BXB related question, but it's also sim related. So I thought maybe he's looked at this review. What score did Joel give his review of Train Sim World earlier this year? I believe
he gave it 1 star, didn't he?
There you go. He did, and you've looked at that review.
Yes,
well
I
done.
did, because I'm a Train Sim fan.
Would you like to counter that review? Was he wrong? I mean, he's got some great comments on that review.
I mean,
people just like, it's a fucking simulator.
I mean, I kind of see both. I kind of see both views, because, yeah, it is a simulator. You drive a train. That's what it does. It's like saying of a football simulator, all I did was play football. But on the flip side of that, the Train Sim World was massively disappointing, actually, because they said something about multiplayer, and that would have been great, but no. I thought it'd be great to have me and my mates start at each end of the track and just run into each other, but no. Nope, nothing. Nothing. No dice. So actually, I can certainly see his argument. He does make some good points.
So it's lucky I wasn't keeping score. But I think well, should we still let him in, Rich?
Yeah.
I'm here now. Yeah. I'm here now. I'm here for tonight.
He's here now, so we might as well. We'll keep him. Yeah.
We should do that again though. See how performance improves.
Yeah, we'll do a midterm. We'll do a yearly review or 6-month review. Yeah, God, we'll come back. We expect to see improvement. I think you got like 2 or 3 at the best.
I think I got 3 out of 10, which is not. It's not good. It's not good. And bear in mind, one of those was an Elder Scrolls question.
Yeah, that was the slogan, wasn't it?
And what was the other one I got? Apart from the Train Sim one, what was the other one I got? Oh, I can't remember.
It's already lost the time. Don't worry.
I have to rewatch and find all those questions and find all the answers to them.
Well, I'm not going to ask you the same questions. I'm not that nice.
Well, no, but I can at least have the base knowledge.
Build something to build upon. A foundation. I like it. I like your thinking. So we're going to now dip into one of our recurring segments, which is what have we watched and streamed and seen on TV and Netflix, and we don't have a name for it, Chris. No. We should come up with a pithy name for this. But yeah, we always talk about it, so it kind of comes up every episode where what we've been watching. So I've got to go to you, Chris, and ask you, what the hell's wrong with you? Why are you watching Judge fucking Judy?
Judge Judy is genius. I will hear nothing bad against Judge Judith Scheindlin. Okay, fair enough.
I've got nothing. I've got no.
Judge. The great thing about that show is Judy. That's the only thing that is really great. And just seeing how stupid some people are. My favorite clip of Judge Judy, it went viral quite recently, in internet terms, but in the last 6 months, there was a case where this woman had alleged that these 2 teenagers had stolen her wallet. And Judge Judy said, "Okay, can you please go?" This is like 10 seconds into the trial. She said, "Can you please go through what was in your wallet at the time it was stolen?" She said, "There was about $20. There were all my cards, and I think actually my headphones had got. I'd put them in one of the pockets." And one of the teenagers being sued piped up and said, "There were no headphones in the wallet, Your Honor." So she just immediately went, "I love it. Judgment for the plaintiff." It's good fun. It's easy to watch. Good fun and easy to watch during the day.
I mean, I remember watching it hungover as a student. Kinda, but like that's my only real memory of it. But
she's been going for 21 years, man. You can't argue with the numbers. Can't argue
with her bank account. I'm sure.
No, exactly.
I mean, that would be the bit that's worth mentioning. Richard, I wanted to. I watched Ghost Stories, Rich.
Oh yeah, what did you think of that?
Have you seen it, Joel? Have you seen it, Chris? Sorry.
Yes.
Joel, I apologize. So, all right, then in that case, as we've all seen it, warning, spoilers, spoilers. Yeah. We might get into this a little bit because I want to talk about that third act. What the really good fuck? Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I can see what you mean. It felt like old school horror, but at the same time, the revelation that it was all in his coma-induced mind was kind of a letdown because it made everything far less scary retroactively. That was the issue I had with it.
Okay, I see that point. And I raise you this: have you seen Hereditary yet?
No, I haven't. No.
Now, okay, I can't use the point because it gives away the ending. Damn it! All I'll say is the payoff in Hereditary is more disappointing than the payoff you
But
get.
That doesn't make Ghost Stories good.
No, no. But what I'm saying is, again, I can't get into the full details of it because I don't want to give away Hereditary. I should point out I'm not a massive horror movie fan.
No, me neither. No.
But Charlie is, and so I've sort of got into it by proxy. In the same way that she now knows shit about Star Trek that she had no idea about because I watch it in bed while she's asleep. She does know that, for the record.
It's not what I'm watching. It's not what I'm watching when the wife's asleep. Just saying. It's not what I'm watching. But we won't go into that because she'll watch this. So we'll just...
Fair enough. That's fair. But yeah. So no, the thing that I liked about Ghost Stories was that it first of all the stories were really good. I thought Paul Whitehouse was brilliant. I thought Martin Freeman did a really good job. I thought all the performances were good. I thought it was. Yes, it's almost It's a Dream payoff, which is never good, but I think it kind of fundamentally it didn't bother me as much as the It's a Dream payoff bothers me in other things.
No, that's fair, and you're right. It's one of the few things I liked Martin Freeman in. Though where his character goes in that third act is very strange, especially when you're still working out what's happening. But that's brilliantly unsettling. I'll give you that. But it stopped being horror. It stopped being horror and became fantasy. As soon as he goes back to see the old man, you know, his mentor-esque figure, it stopped being scary and it just became twisty fantasy. And it was a shame to me because I really liked the three stories. And I really enjoyed. I especially like the kids
on their own, don't they? The stories on their own, they work. I think what spoilt it for me, the payoff didn't quite work, but it was also telegraphed quite early on as well. That mask that someone is wearing, it's quite obvious, isn't it, from the outset who that is?
Yeah, but I genuinely, the thing is, this is maybe me being a bit dumb. I genuinely thought, okay, they've got him in for a small role. That's pretty cool. But then again, I think British cinema often does that. So that's a sort of unintentional red herring because British cinema often gets in big people for tiny little things.
It reminded me a bit of the experimental horror of the 70s, stuff like that, which is what I enjoyed about that twisty ending. It was like the whole it's psychological aspects rather than just a scary film with monsters.
Which
can be very predictable.
Which is what the problem was with another film that we won't go into, but because you two haven't seen it. Are you likely to go and see Hereditary, by the way?
Probably not, to be honest.
I'd like to watch it, but I think it was on the cinema for about 3 days, wasn't it? So
because there was a point in that where they had the choice that obviously Ghost Stories had, which was, do we keep this flat horror or do we go down another route? And the choice they made let the film down.
So often such a problem with horror movies is that third act, isn't it? So often such a problem.
Yes.
In a related subject, I want to throw out the I Saw Upgrade. Now, it's related because it's been put out by Blumhouse, who do a lot of independent, smaller budget horror movies. And this is their first time that they've done something more sci-fi. But it definitely has horror elements. Neither of you guys have seen it, I'm guessing, because it's still very new, and I was fortunate enough to catch it in like a one-off screening almost at the cinema. Like, you know, they showed it for a day, maybe. It's very cool. It does a lot with the idea of transhumanism that we've been talking a lot about on the podcast recently, with some of the topics that come up in video games at the moment. Very, very hot topic. But yes, scary, great action, brilliantly acted, and amazing what they've done setting this, making a convincing future world, but like with no money. Like, you can tell this was made with a very small budget, but it was very, very impressive. I recommend everybody, if they can, it will be on video demand and easy to watch pretty soon, I'd imagine. But yeah, if you get a chance, watch Upgrade. It's quite the surprising little indie hit. I think it's gonna be big. Yeah,
nice.
Check that out. That's my little recommendation. The Innocents. I'm curious about The Innocents, Richard, because this is the shape-shifting one on Netflix, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So it's about.
Is it good? Is it good?
I can't decide.
Okay, how far in are you?
I finished it. Like you say, it's about shape-shifting women specifically. So it follows a couple of teenagers who've run away from school. They want to start their own life, escape the sort of under the thumb life that they have with overbearing parents, and run off to London to start again. It's at that point that the girl discovers through a series of events that she can morph into other human beings when she touches them, and when she's in a particular state of fear, she can transform into other people. And it sort of follows how she comes to terms with that, other people that she finds with the same ability, and explores the consequences of the changes that she goes through. So when she turns into somebody, the person that she is, they basically become catatonic. So it's quite an interesting concept, and I enjoyed it as far as it went, but I'm not sure it really does enough with the idea. And I think the bit that really bothered me was not what you would expect. It's because it's quite an abstract concept, quite a fantasy scenario, but it's the day-to-day stuff, like the relationship, the conversations that these people have, that just didn't feel realistic. So I could buy all the shape-shifting stuff, but some of the reactions that people have to different situations just didn't quite fit well for me, and threw me out of that world a little. But some great performances. Guy Pearce is in there as sort of dubious, is he a good guy or not, doctor. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So it's got some nice cinematography as well. So it splits its time between London and Norway. So there's a nice sort of balance of urban and sort of beautiful mountain vistas in there too. So yeah, it's worth a watch. It's got some interesting points, interesting moments, but probably let down a little bit by some odd script choices.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I saw a trailer for it and I thought, oh, the wife's going to want to watch that because it's all the female-led shapeshiftery shit. I was like, oh yeah, that's her jam. I was just wondering if I could also sit through it without wanting to pull my hair out. And I'm a bit on the fence right now. So maybe. Yeah, I'll give it a look. Talking about Netflix though, Chris, I see. Have you just finished Star Trek Discovery?
I have just. No, I've just finished Star Trek Discovery.
We talked about it a lot as it was airing on the show. Yeah, I think we all ended up quite liking it. Looking forward to season 2.
Yeah,
where we were at.
Yeah. I think it's nice that they've gone for the Enterprise with Pike, not Kirk. I like that because because it's a lot of people tend to forget actually that the first captain of the USS Enterprise was Pike in the what's it called, the pilot episode. I think that's nice. But no, I liked it. I think my struggle with when they've done the prequels of Star Trek is, and it's the same problem I had with the new movie series as well, was that somehow the further back you go in the Star Trek universe, the more advanced the technology gets. And to me, that doesn't make sense. It's like apart from Enterprise, which I recently rewatched, and actually I didn't think it was that bad. I know it got panned when it came out. I didn't think Enterprise was awful. I think it wasn't particularly well written, but I thought it was but actually, the original Enterprise in that TV show was much more how I felt that a prequel of the original Star Trek would be. You know, short of using cassette tapes to run everything. But yeah, so no, I think apart from that, I think the performance is quite nice. I didn't see minor spoilers for people. I'm assuming I'm quite late on the boat on this one, but minor spoilers. I didn't see the twist with what's his name? The captain. I didn't see the twist with him coming.
Oh, you didn't predict that he was from an alternative timeline?
No. But as we've noticed, I'm very dumb when it comes to these kinds of things.
Yeah, they telegraphed the shit out of that. I think we were predicting that episode 2 or something. Yeah, well. Yeah.
So everyone else, if we'd all watched it in some giant cinema, you guys would all in like an hour in going, oh, and there's me right at the end going, holy shit. But yeah, no. No, I think it's a good series. I'm more excited about the next gen coming back than I am about season 2 of that. Woo! But because it'll be interesting to see where they've taken that. But yeah, I think it's worthy of the canon, shall we say? I think.
Yeah. I'm a bit worried about how much Pike was going to be involved in season 2, because it seems like an odd choice to have him take over Discovery, as the trailer implies. But hey, look, they've convinced me enough. I'll follow them and see what they do.
Yeah, they can.
So that's where I'm at.
Well, all we can do is watch the first couple of episodes of next season and go, yeah, I'll carry on, or nah, that's it for me.
Yeah. I mean, this had to be the last one. We really probably should talk about some games. But what's Glass Castle, Rich?
It's not the sort of thing I would normally watch. Sarah picked this, but I thought I'd mention it because I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. It's a drama based on a true story, starring Naomi Watts, fella out of Cheers. What's his name?
Ted Danson?
No, not
Woody Harrelson.
Kelsey Grammer.
Woody Harrelson.
Okay. Woody Harrelson. We got there in the end. Everybody else. No.
Yeah. So Woody Harrelson's in it. He's an alcoholic father. Naomi Watts is the mother.
What's he doing in the film?
Ding!
Stuck in the boot into Woody Harrelson with no powers.
He crossed you at some point, didn't he? Yeah. I could tell. That arsehole.
Brie Larson is the long-suffering daughter.
All right, well, I like Brie Larson. I think she's very good,
Yeah, she's good in this. Woody Harrelson's particularly good. And it's sort of biopic about this girl and her memories of her father. She grows up in this kind of unusual upbringing. She's got a father that never settles in a job. He's constantly moving them from town to town. They're never anywhere for more than a couple of weeks. The mother's an artist, so she's a bit scatty as well, and so they bring the worst out in each other. And it just explores why he is so unreliable, why he's an alcoholic, where that's come from with his childhood. And I don't really want to go into it too much, but it's difficult to really sell it as a story because it's about how the relationships develop, and it's something you've got to kind of see unfold rather than describe. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth a watch if you've got Netflix, just to put it on and try it for half an hour, see if you get into it.
Fucking problem I have with all of these services now. I didn't put it on my list. I only watched the first episode so far of Jack Ryan on Amazon. I've really enjoyed it, but man, there's so much stuff. It's the greatest first world problem, all that bullshit. But it's just like, man, there's too much choice. But I remember when a new thing would come on Netflix and it would be a big event and you'd be like, everybody watched it. And now there's a new thing every other day, and it's like, it's impossible to try.
It's constant, isn't it? I've been trying to convince my wife to cancel live TV. I'd rather not have to pay for the BBC anymore because I don't really rate it. And I never watched live TV ever.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Yeah, so, I can't remember the last time I watched any of the old school terrestrial channels. That's for sure. I mean, I've not watched a BBC Channel 4 ITV or a Channel 4, any of those in years, probably. Like I just don't do it. It's TV has evolved. We were talking about this last time, weren't we? It's evolved, but it's going to become the same thing again, but just over the internet.
That's what it's going to be
now. Yeah, where it's kind of nice. Yeah, and we have choice, and then it'll soon become homogenized, and we'll be paying even more than we ever have. Yeah, I can. It's a stupid problem, but it is a problem. Like when there's too much stuff out there. But this is an entertainment podcast where we talk about all the things we've watched and played. So that's kind of like what we do. So we can't complain too much. Quick shout out, thanks to all the viewers we've got right now. If you guys have any questions regarding any of the news topics we've got on the docket, which you can see in the show notes on the website or on the YouTube description, put them in the chat. One of us will see it, hopefully, and we can bring that up when we talk about that subject matter or that game, because we actually have some viewers, and that's great to see. I think Chris has brought them across. I know one of them is his lovely other half, but that still counts.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Damn right it does. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything coming up, pop it in there and we'll have a look. So let's get on to some news. We'll go through these quite quickly before we can discuss the games we've all been playing and reviewing over the last couple of weeks. things. So first of all, Battlefield 5 has been delayed. Now, this is smart. This is a smart move on EA's part. Even I was looking a bit like, God, how am I going to play all these fucking games, man? So it's like, you know, just as a regular consumer who's not trying to cover them all, it must have looked insane. They were going to slot it in there like a week after Red Dead or something. So they've delayed it. They've delayed it out of October now into November, 20th of November, by a month, which is very clever. It gives them some more breathing room, gets them away from Call of Duty as well, and therefore it can set apart a little bit. And in relation to that, I've been playing the beta this weekend. So if you guys wanted to know what this game is, it's a Battlefield game. So you've probably played it before. It's a Battlefield game set in World War II, which you've also played before. The mode I was playing was this new, that, you know, they had that sort of linked stage-based sort of invasion mode or conquest mode in the previous version. They've taken that and they've kind of expanded upon it. Now, what that meant was, weirdly, I was like, oh, I'll have a quick game with this afternoon so I could talk about it on the podcast. A quick game became 90 minutes in the same match. And it was like,
they have expanded it.
This is kind of insane. Like, I don't know if this is just because everybody's really low level and they don't know what they're doing, but it was like, this is taking forever.
Did you end up on the noob server? Did you end up on the noob server?
I might have. I was playing as a Nazi. It could have been the problem.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the game is balanced against the Nazis.
You'd kind of hope it was.
Well,
but
yeah,
also
but
from a competitive multiplayer standpoint, you kind of hope it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
They had many bad ideas, but they were good at shooting people.
I can tell, though. You can tell it's an open beta, which means a beta that is appealing to people that wouldn't normally play this game, because I got so many kills. Like, I got dozens of kills in the first game I played in this, just murdering people. You'd see people looking confused, just stood there, standing by buildings, not moving, and you just bringing the pain everywhere. It was quite satisfying. But you can just expect in the real game when that comes out, I'm just going to get destroyed. So yeah, things falling down in my office. That was distracting. It must be the ghost. It's come out of ghost stories, and it's coming to get me. If you see anything behind me, guys, don't tell me, because I'd rather not know. So yeah, that's the news about Battlefield. We'll move quickly. And anyone want to ask me anything about Battlefield beta?
I did want to ask about Battlefield, because when it first got announced, there's a lot of people whinging about the artistic direction. It is based on World War II, but it's got some odd choices, hasn't it? Or people thought it had, with samurai swords and, oh my God, women as well.
I haven't seen any samurai swords, just to be clear.
Well, there is one in it. There was one in the trailer, wasn't there? So, how does it feel? Is it traditional World War II, or is it
it feels like Battlefield 1, which was great. It doesn't look like there's a massive visual improvement. Mobility feels the same. I mean, the guns feel slightly more modern, but they still feel very much, you know, of a similar era. Than I was playing predominantly as the medic class, because I always like playing support in those games, and which is like an SMG class with some healing abilities, and yeah, it plays like that's always played. It didn't really feel that different in any way. There's vehicles to get in, big maps. You know, like I was talking about, it's got multiple stages to each part of the match in that particular game mode. Yeah, it's fun. I will enjoy it. I will always enjoy a Battlefield game, because they bring a certain chaotic competitive multiplayer that you don't really find in anything else. I'm also very excited to see what they do with their Battle Royale mode, as everybody's got one now. Yeah, so yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. I look forward to seeing what the single player is as well. I liked it last time.
I'm looking forward to a World War II game that finally lets you play as Captain Mad Jack Churchill. Do you two know about Captain Mad Jack Churchill?
No, I know the name.
He is the last British soldier to go into an actual firefight in time of war with a longbow. He shot Nazis with a longbow. He also went in with bagpipes and a Scottish arming sword.
Did he die?
No, he survived until 1996.
Impressive.
He survived the war. Anyone watching, go and research Mad Jack Churchill. He's literally brilliant.
That sounds like a Wikipedia entry I need to check out after this podcast.
Yes, you do.
That's crazy shit, man. In relation to Battlefield 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 has revealed their Blackout mode, which is their BR mode. They put a trailer out about that. Did you guys watch the trailer?
No, I didn't.
I knew it, and I know Richard hasn't. Why even ask? Why even ask? So basically,
what? Describe it.
Describe. Oh, he's gone. He got so emphatic it kicked him out.
Take it.
He's back. I think he came back.
Oh,
he froze up pretty bad there. He froze up good. Yeah.
It's because I made a bad joke.
Oh, good. It cut it out for us. That's handy.
Go on.
I like that. That's how smart Google's getting. You have to watch this, now that they own YouTube and all that shit. So anyway, describe it. The difference about this to so many other battle royale modes is it seems to the trailer implies that it's bringing across a level of that kind of madcap frenetic gunplay that you get from the Call of Duty games into a battle royale mode. So there's lots of vehicle action, lots of there's guys driving a truck, and then the back of the big heavy loader is the rest of the squad, and they're all shooting out the back of it at dudes chasing them in ATVs, and then helicopters coming down and rocket launchers going off. And it was kind of like trying to bring across, it felt a bit like Battlefield. Actually, it felt like they were trying to have a bit of that space with a large map and stuff like that. Obviously larger than a normal Battlefield map because it's Battle Royale, but it looked fun. It was a good trailer. It made me interested in the mode. Frankly, it's the only element of this year's Call of Duty that does interest me in any way. So especially now that they don't have single player, that they beefed up the terrible zombies mode, and the multiplayer beta I played a couple of weeks ago was absolute fucking trash. So I'm not really looking forward to that game in any way, shape, or form, but I'll almost certainly play it. Because I do that to myself. But it looked okay. It looked okay. I mean,
I've kind of written it off already. I think we talked about it before. The lack of campaign means I am out from Call of Duty until the next one.
Yeah. If a review copy shows up to cover, we'll do it. But I'm not going to go out and buy it. No. I'm not interested in that way about it. Definitely not. Right, let's talk about September's games, Game Pass titles on Xbox, because they've got some good shit in there this month. Well worth checking out if you haven't already checked out Game Pass. Chris, I know you don't have an Xbox, but you must have heard of Game Pass. It's basically Netflix for games on Xbox, which is pretty fucking awesome. It would be a strong reason, actually, for me to recommend, if you were going to go for a next-gen console at some point, pick up Xbox, because you subscribe to this, you're going to have a huge library straight away, which is a pretty sweet thing. But yeah, so there's some pretty good games in here. So let's go over them quickly. We've got, obviously, the Master Chief Collection has been added with the 4K Fancy Pants HDR update, which I know Richard will talk about shortly. He's been playing a lot of that. Quantum Break's in there, which we really enjoyed when that came out as well, didn't we?
Oh, I love Quantum Break.
Mwah. Mwah. I believe you gave that quite a high score. Did you review it?
Did I review it? I don't know.
We always say this, and it's just like, did you? You talked about it a lot, but I can't remember if you reviewed it. I really can't.
I don't think I did, but I would have scored it pretty high.
Snake Pass is in there. After it was weird. It was announced, then it didn't show up at the start of the month, and then it came in a few days later. So everybody was like, "Is it? Isn't it? Is it? Isn't it?" And then it was. So Snake Pass, you played that, didn't you? Did you play Snake Pass?
I played it on the Switch, but I'll probably have a go at the Xbox version since I've got Game Pass.
My choice of sort of under the radar game in here, which most people might pass up, is Avon Colony, which I gave a very high score to when I reviewed it as one of the best examples of that sci-fi base management, colony management game that's actually available on console. There's a surprisingly large amount of those games now available on console, and I think it was a really cool, fun take on that genre. I really enjoyed it. I really like the way they made it work on the platform. We got Shadow Warrior, #1, the first version of that's in there, which is crazy first-person shooter.
I did review that and really enjoyed that, actually. Shadow Warrior was good.
It's a fun game, isn't it? It's silly. Very much like 80s inspired in its style, and then plays like a 90s shooter almost. Is it Sky Force Reloaded, which are really good shmups, basically. So it's a bottom to top scrolling, top-down shooter in that sort of bullet hell style, and plays really well, looks really nice as well. I really like the Skyforce games. I've been putting some time into that. Manual Samuel, which I feel like somebody reviewed on this site, but I can't remember who did it now. It might have been
Rob did that.
Was it Rob back in the day? Yeah. He praised that quite heavily, I remember. That was a very fun sort of adventure game. Gianna Sister Twisted Dreams, I know nothing about. Do you know anything about the Gianna Sisters games?
The Gianna Sisters is kind of a Mario Brothers knockoff. It's a long-standing franchise. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as Mario, is it? So can't say I've put any time into it.
Okay. Inner Space, which I believe is another like 3D, like dreamlike, flying around, slightly artsy kind of exploration game, I believe. Though I've only ever seen a trailer for it, not played it yet.
I was disappointed when I first heard about Inner Space. I was disappointed that it wasn't based on the 1980s movie. Just going to put that out there, because I think that would be a brilliant idea for a game
with the amazing Dennis Quaid.
Yeah,
that is a fantastic, brilliant film. Brilliant film. Oh my god, I love that film. But finally, on September the 5th, which we're well past now, so I don't know why I mentioned the date there. But Onrush came to Game Pass as well, which me and Richard talked about a lot. Richard was playing on a free weekend. I reviewed it. Really liked this game. Then, of course, the price point was ridiculous and there was no demo available. But now it's shown up in Game Pass, and it's like, that's the perfect fucking way to play this game. Like, seriously, well worth a month sub just to play that for a month.
I agree. That is a reason to get Game Pass. If you haven't played Onrush, month's worth of that is well worth the money.
It's a racing game that isn't about coming first. It's not about where you finish on the track. It's combat. It's MOBA-esque. It's class-based. It's fucking mental and really good fun. Really good. So that's a solid month from Game Pass there. Super impressive stuff. As that everything, it's everything except the one biggest and bestest thing that happened the last 2 weeks was the E3 demo, all 40 odd minutes of it, of Cyberpunk 2077 was released to the public after much demand from us fans, even though CD Projekt did not want to release it because it's far from final. Lots of things could change. They wanted to let the people see what they showed the press, and so glad they did. Oh my God, that game is going to be probably my favorite game of all time. No pressure, guys. Just no pressure. It looks amazing. Oh my god! The world that they're creating, the milieu, the genre that they're playing in. I love the first person choice. It's so immersive. Everything about that cyberpunk setting. It looks like, they're taking that promise of the Deus Ex games that never quite got there with their modern iterations and just blowing it out of the fucking water. I am so hyped for that.
You know what? That's the thing that puts me off, because it does look a bit Deus Ex, and they've never lived up to what I thought they were going to be. So I just worry that this is going to be the same. It's one of those fantasy games. It just looks so good.
No, man. They made the Witcher series. They've got the pedigree. They can do it. I believe they can do it based on the Witcher 3 more than anything. Their narrative design in those quests, their world design in that world, of what is it called? The Witcher 3. Where's it set? I can't bloody remember, but it's great. It's so good. What about you, Chris? How are you feeling about some Cyberpunk?
The game itself looks amazing. The graphics look good. I like the fact there's no loading screens. I like the fact that the cities, unlike my favorite games, Fallout 4 and Skyrim, the cities actually feel like there's literally thousands of people there rather than, Fallout 4 is slightly different because the human race has been decimated, so But yeah, no, I like that. I do have an issue from the tabletop perspective, though. You need to have the empathy system in there.
Oh, you've played the actual RPG this is based on, the tabletop.
You need to have the empathy system in there, because otherwise the empathy system was it controlled how many implants you could have before they started to genuinely affect you. In your humanity, and taking that out is an interesting decision. I don't think it's game breaking unless it gets to the point where you become basically cyborg with a couple of human, toes.
Well, they showed that that enemy faction that was like all mostly machine, and they were all bad, horrible, awful people. Yeah. So the implication there is that maybe there is something of that nature in there, but it's so far out that what we're seeing, they said themselves, is far from finished. Yeah. So they might, that sort of, stuff could come in there. They could.
No, and I hope it does. Don't get me wrong. If they can pull it off without needing this specific empathy skill, great, more power to them. The whole thing is, it's not a tabletop game. It is a video game, so it can work differently, and that's all great. But just from a purist point of view, which I don't have very often, but from a purist point of view, I think it'll be interesting for fans of the Cyberpunk tabletop game.
All 4 of them, including yourself.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
I understand.
No, I think it'll be interesting to see how it works without the empathy.
Do you know what I wonder? Because they famously picked up the license for the Witcher stuff off of the writer of those books for like next to nothing. That guy got very little remuneration. I wonder if the Cyberpunk creator did better out of this. So CD Projekt approach you and go, "We really like to have your license." They're like, "Ah, well, I've seen what you did with The Witcher. I want at least 8 figures." So you'd hope they did a better deal. You'd hope
again, more power to him.
Yeah, damn right. Yeah, I'll have to see.
Support him in that one.
Have you played The Witcher, Chris? Witcher 3.
I haven't played The Witcher 3 because until the end of last year, when I had no money because I spent it all on a nice new computer that could play games like The Witcher 3, I didn't have the computer to play it. I played The Witcher 1, and the story was great. I found the combat system really frustrating, but that seems to be. There are comments along that line from everyone I speak to about The Witcher 1.
It's a different beast. Very different. Yeah.
Yes. No,
I would like
to play Witcher 3.
Saying I wouldn't mind watching you stream a playthrough of The Witcher 3.
I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. I shall just have to, remortgage my face.
I'm pretty sure you can get it for next to nothing now. I'll look into it for you. How about that?
I think it's on sale on Steam at the moment. But
it's on sale on all the time. Best place to look for that is GOG, because obviously it's CD Projekt's place, so they always do good deals.
Oh, love GOG.
Oh, GOG is the shit. I was a little bit annoyed not to see 2 Point Hospital on GOG. I'd much rather play it there than Steam. I was like, I really want to play that, but I don't really want to buy it from Steam because of all the DRM. So I was a bit bummed about that, but that's probably on the developers' part. They don't want to go no DRM. Well, I suppose that's their choice. Yeah. Shall we talk about some of the games we've been reviewing in the last? Now we're an hour in or so. Yes. Shall we talk about some actual video games? I'll start off with the game that I played a lot of this game, but I reviewed. The review came out. I was pretty much done by the time me and Richard had actually recorded the last podcast, but I wasn't allowed to talk about it because I was under embargo. So now I'm going to have to try and remember it. So if you guys can ask me some questions about this game I last played about 2 weeks ago, that would be great. So this was Strange Brigade. Now, this is Rebellion's newest release, I think built upon the last Sniper Elite V version 4 engine. And Rebellion, who obviously publish comics and stuff and do all kinds of things, famously 2000 AD and Judge Dredd and Rogue Trooper. But they do make these odd little side spin-off games every so often, and that's what we have with Strange Brigade. And it's basically this 20s set, 30s set, pulpy Indiana Jones inspired adventure action game, in which you play of one of a group of different types of archetypes. So you've got like the manly explorer, the brutish dude, the exotic woman, there's a lot of heavy British narration like this, which is really entertaining, and it basically goes on all the time. You can pick something up and you'll be like, "Oh, you picked something up, sir. I hope it's good." And then you'll shoot someone and you'll be like, "Good shot. What a headshot." And there's interestingly an actual option in the menu where you can reduce that and turn it off, because they ignore the fact that it could become irritating.
That's obviously for the American fans.
Yep, I loved it. I fucking loved it. I love reactive narration, like in Bastion and stuff like that. It's not quite at Bastion's level where it's telling you the story so much, but it was always funny, well written, well voice acted. And this is great. The game is 4-player co-op for the ground up across all 3 of its game modes as well. So you can jump in with up to 4 players and you can do it. It works really well. So basically you've got a story mode, a horde mode, and a time attack mode in there. It's a lot of fun. It's all jungles and ruins, and you do feel a bit Indiana Jonesy. You've got some light puzzle elements, lots of really quite good action. I found the gunplay a little bit overly sensitive at times, a little bit finicky, but once I got the hang of it, it was really good fun. Upgrading weapons, different rune abilities. By all means, go back and check out my video review, because I'd remember things in that more, probably.
Hope so.
But one of the biggest problems, and we mentioned Onrush, and this is another one of those. This is a game from what I would call AA rather than AAA, right? So we're in that mid-tier publishing area, right? And it's fun and it's unique and it stands out when you play it. And yet they want 50 quid for it without a demo. And this has another £30 season pass on top of that if you want. And it's just like, guys, I would love to recommend this game so fully and wholeheartedly, but you make it so difficult when you ask that amount of money for it. Now, you can see the work's gone in there. It does deserve your patronage, no doubt about it. However, consumers are savvy now. They know this probably will reduce in price, so they're going to wait. They're going to wait. Why take a punt on this brand new IP that has no pedigree, that's getting okay to good scores in reviews, but not outstanding? You know, it just boggles my mind a little bit that they ask so much for these games. And I understand that, you know, the man hours and the artistry that goes into these experiences deserves payment and remuneration, but it's a big ask, especially with a huge season pass as well. When I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? You're going to get new characters, new weapons, new story. Great. But I am not putting down another £25 on this after spending 50 quid. Like, who would do that? Like, that's just...
Maybe people do. I mean, this happens more regularly than you would think is sensible. These people should know what they're doing.
I haven't seen sales data, but I can't expect it to be much better than Onrush. I just can't. It's an untested IP that, again, is doing things a bit differently. It has no competitive multiplayer. It's purely co-op or single player. It's niche in its appeal, in its setting. It appeals to me, but it's incredibly British. It's not, I don't think, going to break out well into the States as a market. And it's getting good talk about, like Onrush had good talk about. But 100% when we come to Black Friday sales, that'll be half off. In November, 100%. Yeah. So why
if they brought it out just a bit lower, then you would get those impulse buys, and they'd probably rake in a bit more money. I can only speak anecdotally. I will not impulse buy a game that's 50, 55 quid. No. It just doesn't happen. No. So if that's the market they're in, it's not going to have hype around it, is it? This sort of release. So they're reliant on people spotting it and thinking that looks interesting, and then pulling the trigger there and then. But they won't with that price.
Yeah, that's my thing. And if you started at a lower price point, and I'm not talking half of it, I'm talking £10 off, right?
Like 35 quid is enough.
35 to 40 instead of 50 to 55, right? If you do that, you then, when the sale does come around, you won't have to reduce it as deeply. And it will still look like an even better deal. So you'll end up actually giving yourself a longer tail on better sales numbers if you don't price so aggressively.
Something that doesn't get mentioned often, but is probably universally true. If you do spend a lot on a game like this, you're going to feel burned when it does go on sale, and you're probably not going to make the same mistake next time around. It just breeds that behavior, doesn't it? So even if they get away with it this time, they won't get it again.
I mean, there are whole websites like Store Parser dedicated to telling you about when games are reduced, right?
Yeah.
There are whole communities on Reddit dedicated to this. Gamers are savvy, and the 1 or 2 game purchase a year type isn't going to impulse buy a new IP that he doesn't already know, or she doesn't already know she likes. So you're only appealing to the hardcore, or at least the moderately hardcore, with something like that, and they're just not going to take that punt. And then, do you know who suffers? The developer suffers when the team gets downsized and people get let go, and the studios get closed, because those guys aren't setting this price point. It's the publisher setting this price point. And I bet if we spoke to one of them, they'd say, yeah, we'd wish it was a bit less. I'm making some guesses and supposition here. Yeah, no doubt. But it just seems mad to me that, once again, and Onrush, came out, did badly, studio got cut in half, game is now in Game Pass. And it's just like, that's what happens. It's just happened. For God's sake.
It's funny, because I was waiting for that to drop to about 20 quid. I would have given them money for it. I was waiting to give them money.
They would have given up. That just shows they've already given up. They put it in Game Pass. It's just like they've gone hands up, not selling. It's not even an old game, man. It's not Quantum Break, is it, from 3 years ago, or Master Chief Collection from 3 or 4 years ago? It just came out this year, like a few months ago. It's mad. It's mad. It's mad. Anyway, I really like this game. Please watch my review of it. It's a lot of fun. I really, really like it, and I want to recommend it, but I am not going to recommend it at that price point.
What's the story like? Is it worth playing for the story?
It's pulpy, Saturday morning serial stuff. Very much aware of its campiness. You know, it's all about, you know, a big evil mummy type lady has come back from ancient Egypt and she's bringing the dead back to life. And you've got huge varieties of monsters, from zombie types to ghouls to dudes with armor to, you know, skeletons to bull type things and all kinds of like mystical, mythical. Thank you, Minotaur. That is the word. Yeah, it's great. It's really good fun. I really enjoyed it. I had a great blast playing it in co-op with the wife, because pre-release you can't get a game, so I could only do that. But no, multiplayer seemed to work well and stuff. And it, you know, it's a multiplayer game, so you need people to have it, you know, which is hard to do when it's that expensive.
Is it obviously multiplayer? This may seem like a stupid question, but is there serious replayability in it, or is it like one of those where you spend? Okay, cool. Because
you do the whole story.
Yeah.
You got multiple levels of horde modes.
Yeah.
So you've got multiple locations for horde modes as well, and then you've got a score attack mode where you can run through these like abbreviated versions of the levels, which are more linear, but you're trying to set times and stuff and scores for the leaderboards.
Cool.
There's loads of stuff in there. It's really good. And I mean, it's like, yeah, the work has gone in here, and it's just a shame it's not going to get seen by more people, you know? But I might be wrong. Maybe it sold millions. I don't know. I don't work for Rebellion, but there you go. Richard, do you want to Unexplored? I mean,
I'll talk about Unexplored. I wimped out from it last time, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
So I played it a bit a couple of weeks back. Unexplored is a procedurally generated top-down dungeon game on the Switch. Is it on PC as well?
Yeah, I want to say it is. This is a fancy version that, you know, because it's been re-released, as it were, on Switch. It's a roguelike, isn't it?
It is a roguelike. I really hate it. I still hate it. We talked about it before recording the last show, and it made me so angry that I couldn't really talk about it.
This is true.
I've looked up a few other opinions on it since, and by the way, I will be writing something for it, but probably tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just so horrible. The idea is that you can sort of, it's quite customizable. You start by customizing your character, and you control this kind of what they call Cyclops. It's a Cyclops fella. He's always a Cyclops, so you can't really customize that much. But you can change the color of his cape and the size of his iris. So there you go.
Sweet.
That is some hardcore customization options right there.
Yeah, I had a hard time working out what I was looking at, to be honest. When it first presented me with this character creation screen, you don't normally get them for characters viewed only from above. So I didn't quite know what this was supposed to resemble. But yeah, I worked it out eventually. Getting into the game itself, that's the important bit, I guess. They're procedurally generated dungeons in the vein of Gauntlet. If you think of Gauntlet, it's got keys that you can pick up that open locks. There's switches that open other doors. There's treasure chests with things in, and there's enemies that you can either slash at with a sword or throw a knife at. So you've got two basic attacks. The combat system is quite slow paced. I think there's, by design, some kind of strategy built into it. So it's not like Gauntlet where you just running through and just mowing down swarms and swarms of ghouls or skeletons or whatever. You might get one or two enemies at a time. And I don't know, maybe if you put more time into it, it might gel better. But to me, it just felt boring and slow paced. I didn't get anything from the combat. It just felt really clunky and unrewarding. The exploration, it's really hard to sell a game based on exploring areas when they look as absolute dog shit as this, because every single template just it's so bland. It looks like I don't know how to describe it. It's just there's nothing to it. Just,
well, you need to work out how, because you've got to write a review. So I'm just saying, you better get on.
This is how the office works, people.
the templates that are used to sort of build the worlds that you walk through, they are so poorly detailed that it's difficult to know what they are. So I showed you last time, didn't I, Ben?
Yeah.
I walked over what I thought was a doorway into a new carpeted area or something. Turns out I'd walked into the fucking sea. And I was unable to get out of the sea. So
Sorry, I can't wait for the review. That's all I'm going to say. I'm really looking forward to seeing what words you use.
My favorite part of that sentence was that the graphics are clearly so good that you confused the sea for a carpet. That's my favorite bit of that.
And then you couldn't get out of it.
And then you couldn't escape.
Okay. It's just impossibly bad design. It just looks like someone's first go at making a game.
Question. Let me pose this to you. Are you playing this portable on the Switch?
Yes.
Do you think it's got a problem with the screen size? If you were playing it, say, on a big screen or on PC, maybe it would be easier to work out what you were doing?
No, I don't think I'm having trouble making out the detail. There is no detail.
Okay. I was just trying to be... It's fine. Well, I'll stop you there, Richard. I won't force you to talk about this anymore right now. That's fine. We've got plenty more to get through, so we'll move along. Chris, you played a bunch of what I think I've sent you some interestingly diverse games.
Yes.
On the last few.
There were no repeats. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Let's start with the one you just did for me yesterday, and we put up this today.
Yeah.
The Thin Silence, because I didn't realize when I sent it to you that it actually has a really positive and interesting connection to dealing with depression and stuff like that, mental health issues amongst gamers, and there's a whole charity and stuff connected to this.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad I sent it to you. I didn't realize when I sent it to you that that's what it was involved with. But yeah, tell us a bit more about the Thin Silence and all of that.
It's fundamentally, before I say anything else, it's a very, very good game. Obviously, the thing is, with the subject matter of depression, it's a very individual experience for everybody that suffers from it. And so one person's interpretation of depression is never quite going to match up with someone else's. But it's just a really nicely done, well put together, classily presented game. I'm trying desperately not to quote the review.
Quote the review, it's fine. Well, I don't mind.
I mean, I have, to be fair, I do have the script right here. No, I'm not going to do that. But
go to the bxbgames.co.uk website and watch this review as soon as you finish listening to this.
Yes. No, it's a very good game. Graphically, it's a 2.5D. It's kind of 2.25D, really.
Okay.
Because it's basically 2D. It probably is about 2.5D. It probably is. Well, I've said it in the review, so it's 2.5D.
Commit.
Yeah. But it's got puzzle elements to it. It's kind of got it's got this crafting system. You play this guy called Ezra, who starts the game at the bottom of a well, and very literally your job is to help him climb, literally and metaphorically, out of the hole that he finds himself in. And to do that, you have to traverse these levels. There are, like I said, there are puzzle elements to it. You have to work out how to get through each individual level. It's split into 4 chapters, and they've all got, I would say, I managed to complete all 4 chapters in about roughly 45 minutes each. So it's got a decent amount of game time. Let's see, what's that? That'd be 3 hours. I've seen people play between 3 and 6 hours on it. It's advertised as a 4-hour adventure. See, this is why I'm no good without a script.
You're doing fine. Do not worry.
But yeah, it's the crafting system is slick. The crafting system is very slick, and there are a lot of games with crafting systems in these days that are entirely arbitrarily put in there to make them feel like RPGs or crafting games. But this one, it makes sense. A lot of times you play a puzzle game, and it's. I remember I played. And my mum played actually the Longest Journey and Dreamfall and stuff like that. Some very good puzzle games, but the problem is that the logic in that, it was literally you just took 2 items and bashed them together, and then if they didn't work, you took another 2 items and bashed them. Whereas in this game, everything makes sense. Like, one very minor spoiler, you'll find this out very early in the game. You find a boot and you find a set of fishing hooks. and you put them together to make a climbing boot.
Oh, there's no point playing it now, is there?
Ruined
the whole game. But yeah, no. The things I really took away from that game were the graphics were very, very nice, and despite them being 2.5D, there was a lot of depth to all the scenes. There was some surprising amount of detail in there. The soundtrack is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I wish I could have used more of the soundtrack than I did for the review, just because it's just so amazing. And the story is really good as well. I will say this: if anyone watches the review and thinks yes, it's worth it, and it is worth it, if you do suffer from any mental health, this warning will come up at the start of the game. But I think it's only fair I mention it now. Be careful of how you're feeling when you start to play this game. Same as any game about mental health, it will have triggers in. I got quite emotional playing it. So yeah, do just watch yourself when you play it. But it is well worth the play. I think it's like £7.19 on Steam. And it is affiliated with this Checkpoint charity. Sorry, someone was going to say something.
Is it just on Steam? It's not on any consoles yet.
I don't believe it is. I
wouldn't mind trying it, but as Ben says, I've only got a Surface. I haven't got a real computer.
What's a graphics card? That's what it says when you try to run a game. It just goes, fuck off.
I'd just be quite interested in trying it. I don't know if you've played Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade.
I haven't played that one, no.
Flaws, issues of mental health, but specifically psychosis.
Yes.
And did a really good job of doing it. So I'd be interested to see something that goes into similar territory.
Yeah, it's a good addition to the sort of growing canon of games that we've got that actually do take the time to look at depression and mental issues. But sorry, mental health. I shouldn't say mental issues. But it doesn't. Apart from the puzzle aspect, the actual it's a game that it's no longer we're getting away from those depression games. We're now getting games that happen to be about depression, which is good. It's a good thing, but it doesn't bring it's not going to change the genre. It's not a world changer, but it is if you can get it to work on the Surface, go for it. But yeah, at the moment, no, 2 PM they only do PC games. I think I've just had.
They're a little Australian developer, aren't they?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Two of them, yeah.
There's two of them. They get the reason they're called 2 PM is they get together at roughly 2 PM each day to work on whatever video game they're doing.
That sounds all right. Oh, I'm guessing not getting up till 11 then. Typical Australian.
No, I mean fair play to them. But yeah, and it is. I've done a shout out on the video, and Ben has very kindly included it in all the literature as well.
Yeah, damn right. Yeah, on the tweet and everything, and yeah. I didn't realize when I gave it to you, and it's just like, yep, absolutely, that is totally worth raising awareness over. This is a very worthwhile thing.
Wonderful charity. Wonderful.
I mean, it's frightening. It's when you hear, oh man, it's frightening the amount of people still to this day when you mention depression to them, they go, just cheer up then, yeah. What's the fucking problem? And you're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's not how it fucking works.
It's really, really not. Yeah, no, awesome, man. I'll come back to you about your other ones in a minute. I'm going to quickly touch upon a couple of quick ones for me. I've just started reviewing a game that's out next week on Xbox, which is called, and I think a bunch of platforms, but I need to check all that. But I've just started playing it, and it's called ADIOS Amigo. And weirdly, considering the title, it's a 2D space exploration game, physics-based space exploration game. So you have like these planetoids and these little space capsules you guys can get out of and go into and stuff, and you can fly around space, and it's all to do with momentum and trajectories and like trying to match orbits and land on planets and space stations without completely destroying yourself. I went through the tutorials and I started playing the game properly, and I didn't get out the first level because I tried to land on this like orbiting space station. I smashed into it, and I nearly destroyed my ship immediately. I got out, and my ship then floated off, and then I floated off the space, and then I was like, I'm in the sun. So that didn't go well. I lasted less than 5 minutes in my first run. So I'm going to try and put some more time into that, but it seems really interesting. It's got a fun art style. It's co-op. It's couch co-op. I don't believe it's online co-op for up to 4 players. I have no idea how that will work. Like, are you all going to try and coordinate, like flying off at the same time? Because or is it going to split screen or what? I really don't know. But
one flies off and the other three just grab onto the outside and pray.
Plus, what I will mention is the reason I got in touch with the developer for code for this is that I saw the launch trailer for it, which involves a baby being sick on itself. Now, that's a live action FMV element to the trailer involving a baby vomiting on itself. And I was like, I have to play this game. Just because of that advertising. That's literally what I said in the email. I just saw your trailer. Just saw the kid vomiting on himself. I love it. Can I play your game? And they were like, yeah. They actually got back to me 10 minutes later and went, of course you can. And I was like, I love indie developers. They're great. I love the sense of humor of some of them. They've got such brilliant ethoses and stuff. But yeah, and you should try and, because it's weird. There's a launch trailer that you can find quite easily that doesn't have the baby vomiting on itself. But if you can find the one I tweeted, which has got the baby vomiting on itself, please watch that. It's brilliant. It's just really strange, and I like strange. It caught my eye. So I'll be playing more.
They made the baby sick.
No, I think they were just shooting the baby. There's a baby in it. There's a little R2-D2 toy and a Rob the robot. And I'm guessing one of the developers' wives. They're all showing off like the local co-op, basically. Yeah. And I think they were just shooting the baby, and they decided that when it vomited on itself, let's keep that in the trailer. Let's keep that in, because that's gold, like solid fucking gold. And I agree. It was.
The baby's all right. Okay.
Yeah, the baby's. Punched the baby in the stomach. I said be sick. God damn it! You can't take direction.
This will sell that game.
Yeah, they've got the script now. Baby vomits. No, right, punch it.
It's a weird name for a space game, isn't it?
I'm
just looking it up. It's just Xbox and Steam. Weirdly.
Okay. Yeah, that is. I mean. Yeah, there's a lot of weird about
maybe that's what Ben's character was saying to his ship as they floated gracefully apart. Adios,
adios.
Apparently, it stands for Amazing Discoveries in Outer Space.
Amigo.
Yes.
Yeah, friend.
Okay, sure. I did notice it was capitalized, so I figured it was initialization. But yeah, very strange, very fun, very weird and stuff. The trailer and the game seems pretty good as well. So I'll let you know more about that next week. I also played Detached because on PSVR, which I couldn't convince anybody else.
A horror game?
No, I couldn't convince any of you guys to play this.
Yeah.
Because it was a VR game in which you play a dude in 0G, and it's just the vomitorium, basically. Yeah. Oh God. I got the hang of it, but the problem is this game is predominantly meant to be played in multiplayer, and there's nobody playing it. So I'm gonna struggle to do a review. I played like half a dozen multiplayer games by myself, in which nobody joined. I won. I did well. Placed first every time. But I couldn't find any other players. Which
is it only multiplayer?
When you look at the achievements as well, you know how you have the achievements on PlayStation, so you can see how often they've been like collected and how rare they are. Yeah. There's a lot of them are ultra rare, implying nobody's got them. The trophies. So it's like, and most of them are just like, win at this one, do this once, and it's like they've just not been done. So yeah, I might try and play a bit more and maybe do a review, but I'm going to struggle to review something I can't play properly.
Is it just on PSVR?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have PC VR stuff, so I didn't look at that. But it's called Detached. It was a full price VR game on there, so it was like 30, 40 quid or something.
I was going to say how much does it cost? Yeah, it's another victim of its own price.
I think so.
It is on Oculus. So
okay. Sure. You're going to look at it. You're going to look into it.
I mean,
I don't think it cross multiplayer. Sadly, I don't think that's how that works.
No, it probably isn't, unfortunately. But
I mean, it to be honest, it does the whole screen shrinking thing to help alleviate the motion sickness thing, and that works quite well. Yeah, I felt queasy more when the VR stopped tracking properly and everything went static in my field of vision. So that was a problem. You know, when you're moving around, you should be able to look around, and all of a sudden it didn't look. Yeah, and it was like, whoa. Like that. I'm gonna chunk. So I just stopped quickly, took the headset off. I was like, okay.
I felt that playing Minecraft VR, so I probably won't pick up this one.
Minecraft just sedately walking around.
I think it's because I didn't. The thing is because I set it to sort of like stop motion movement rather than actual walking.
Okay, I think
that screen shrinking thing. I don't know how effective that is for me, because Riggs had that, didn't it? Riggs had the.
I never played Riggs.
It's the most extreme version of it I've seen. It was almost tunnel vision at times.
Ooh. Okay.
But nothing has made me more sick than Riggs.
Well, we're on VR then. I'm going to quickly touch. I've done a bunch of PSVR stuff, so I'm going to quickly just touch upon all of them. I think. So I did Star Wars Battlefront VR, the X-Wing simulator. Finally got around to doing that. Oh my fucking god! It's like my dreams coming true.
Oh, it's good.
Oh my god, mate! It was incredible. It was sitting in an X-Wing, pushing all the buttons, and then when that Star Destroyer comes out of hyperspace above you, and the sense of scale, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Absolutely amazing. Did you get the targeting computer come down?
No, I didn't know. What did you do to make that happen?
You don't need to do it, but there is a button in the cockpit that brings the target.
I was wondering if that was in there. Yeah. I was wondering. I have to have a bit more of a play around inside the cockpit and stuff then. But no, I loved all the banter between the pilots. The combat felt good. It felt like space combat in Battlefront. So it flew. You flew the X-wing the same way you would in the game proper, and it looked really good. Like it was one of the better looking PSVR games. However, I thought that was great. And then I played REZ Infinite, and my jaw hit the fucking floor, mate.
That's great.
Area X, the sense of place, the sense of scale, the straight up beauty of it. I literally went, wow, like proper vocalized my amazement while playing this, looking ridiculous with my headset on in my pants. So it's the only way to play VR, mate. Just in your pants. You got to do it that way. I'm sure you do, Chris, and you know, everyone knows. It's got to be in your pants, just your pants. And no, properly, like
Area X is incredible,
and even the base game.
Girl at the end of it is weird.
No, I didn't make it to the end. No,
you didn't make it to the end. You got to get to the end, because the girl that you see at the end, it almost looked real to me, and because it's in VR, it felt so intimate. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I thought,
what kind of game is this?
You don't know REZ? You must know REZ, Chris. You've heard of REZ?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying. The way Rich is describing it, I'm just wondering what kind of game this is. Do we?
The future of interactive.
It wasn't sexual. It wasn't like
Mass Effect. You look at the screen and go, "Well, bang, okay."
No, it wasn't like that at all. I'll tell you what. I looked at her because she was larger than life. She was just there. She just looked so.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like, it's stunning,
like a goddess almost. I just thought.
I really like the control scheme in it as well. How I don't. I really like the.
Let's just give Richard a moment.
I was trying to move us on, but he was holding us back. I really like how the controls are basically you go where you look, which doesn't always sound like the best plan, but something about those spaces in REZ where, because it's an on-rail shooter already, everything is quite manageable. And it does get hectic, but you never feel completely overwhelmed by it. But you're just looking around, and it just encourages you to take in the majesty of this virtual world that has been created. It's just truly stunning experience. Like
there are some of the levels that don't quite work with it. There's one where, not Area X, one of the older levels where you're being chased. Do you know where you're being chased by like a running dude? And the camera sort of pans around to see what's behind you, obviously. But that doesn't quite work with a VR headset because it's you've still got the choice to look around, but it's kind of forcing you at the same time, so it makes you feel a bit funny, that one. But generally,
you are very sensitive to the VR, Rich.
I am.
We've discovered over the years with you talking about it. The other one I played was a Transference demo. The Elijah Wood involved with Ubisoft project Transference. You guys remember seeing that at E3 and stuff?
Yeah,
like the horror in people's
That's the
minds.
horror one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
isn't it? Right.
Yeah, this is all that set in people's minds in a sort of 80s, 90s set technology, basically. So it's set as if you're in a world using a VR thing. So it's giving you that connection to the reality of the experience. It was shit yourself scary. Really? There are moments where these shadow people will just sort of appear in front of you, and the one in the demo just fires a shotgun into your face. And the first time it happened, I literally jumped backwards. Like I was like, fuck, like that, like it was proper worked. I mean,
Being Patient does a lot of that as well.
I'm not sure I'm a fan of that kind of VR experience. It feels kind of cheap. I much prefer the wonder of VR than the kind of jump scare ability of it. But I'm not a big horror gamer or fanatic in any way, but the production was definitely there. I thought the environments were well designed, and the way the environment degraded as the subject's memories and you know, you broke his mind, basically the person's mind you're in. So I thought that was well conveyed. But it looks like an interesting experience. If that game isn't out fully yet, I know it's coming very soon. Transference should be out
10 days, September 18th.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but I might check it out. It was a curious experience. Yes.
I didn't realize there was a demo though. That's available on the store, is it? Just for everybody.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So I thought I'd give it a shot. Rich, do you want to reminisce a little bit about? I think, by the way, guys, we're going to go a bit long by the looks of things, but just so you guys know. But heads up, this could be a bumper episode. It's been a while since we did one with 3 people, so I think it's been. But Rich, did you want to quickly touch upon the majesty of Halo Master Chief Collection?
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. I bought this at launch. When did it come out? 2014. Played it not very much. So I've just gone back to it because they've just released the 4K patch to coincide with its release on Game Pass. And flipping heck, it looks good. Halo 1.
I mean, Charlie.
It's really good. Halo 1, not so much, because, you know, what you're going to do is Halo 1. But they've really made Halo 2 come up shining. It's lovely. Not to modern standards, obviously, but some of the textures in there and just how the colors really pop out of it now as well, because Halo 2 was probably the most colorful of the lot. Lots of neons, brilliant suns. Looks great all the way through. And I've really enjoyed going back to them because it's been a while since I played with the Halos. They still stand up, you know, still good games.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm about 3/4 of the way through Halo 3 now, having started in the week. So I've gone through them pretty quickly and really excited to finish 4 and just, you know, go through them all in quick sequence because I've not done that before. It's always been a big gap between them. But yeah, really enjoying it. I think I will probably play through them even more. As regular listeners or viewers will know, I am an achievement whore. There are so many achievements. It's unbelievable.
How many? What's the total? It's like 5,000, isn't it? On
6,000 gamer score and 600 different achievements. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere near that, but yeah, I'm having a crack. Yeah, really enjoyed it, and probably for people that have missed out on an Xbox One so far, it's kind of the reason to buy an Xbox One now. With Game Pass, you get all of the Halo games.
Yeah, every single one. Yeah, that's cool.
You can get it quite cheap. I mean, the full price for Game Pass is $7.99 a month, isn't it? But I see offers on that all over the place for much less. It's such a good deal. Perfect for anyone. I really hope we get that deal that America's got in the past couple of weeks. Where did you see this? Did we talk about it last time?
I can't remember. Go on.
They've brought out. It's like a subscription model. So you buy an Xbox One S.
Oh yes, this thing. X. Yes.
Bundled in with it, you get Xbox Live and Xbox Game Pass, all in with a monthly price over 2 years. And it works out a little bit cheaper than just buying them separately. So it's an incredible deal, really, just to get on the platform for minimal outlay.
Yeah, they really want to get people. They really want to get people in the ecosystem. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I think they're trying to get as many people into Xbox as possible. It's smart, yeah. Like I don't know how much it works out a month. The reason we didn't bring it up in news, I think, is because it is US only. So I didn't really want to cover it until a UK option did become, you know, something on the table. But yeah, no, it's very cool. It's very cool. Chris, I'm going to come back to you now. Would you like to talk about a couple more of your games? I mean, you don't have to just talk about the ones you've done for review. You could touch upon anything from your list, sir. Whatever takes your fancy.
Well, one I do want to talk about, because I didn't know about this, because I got the Oculus Rift in January, I think, February. And I have been looking for a longer form game that I can do, because obviously I do Oculus stuff for my YouTube channel, and it's all been one-shot little experiences, which are great. And I was looking through, and I can't remember whether I bought it or whether it came with the software, with the hardware, but it was a game called Robo Recall. And it's an arcade shooter, but done on the Oculus Rift, and it's a huge amount of fun. It's nothing complex, nothing, you know. It's once you know what the game is about, you know the game. The levels are just it's like an arcade. It's an arcade game. You pick up a gun, you shoot something, and you carry on shooting things until there's no more things shooting back at you. But the basic premise of it is that you are on you're in a futuristic city, and it's surrounded by robots. Robots are sort of walking around, same as people do. And there's a virus that infects all the robots. And I actually got a jump scare, because in part of the opening video, you're stood outside this shop window in America, and all the robots just turn at you and then jump at you. Now, in VR, that's actually quite scary.
Yeah,
but no, it's great. And then you go to this place, and you're a guy called Agent 34, whose job is to blow the shit out of as many robots as is physically possible. And there's two basic controls. Pick which gun you're going to use. You've got holsters on your hips for dual-wielding pistols or dual-wielding shotguns, which you do that to draw. The other control is the fire button, and that's all you've got. And it's just a riot. It's an absolute riot. Graphics are really nice. Music is really cool, and it's a nice, simple game. And the fact that when you run out of bullets, you don't reload. You just throw the guns away and pick up some more. There was one point I think I finished a small fight, and I've watched the footage back once, and I'm embarrassed because I finish shooting, do that, and then I just go without even thinking about it. It's a game that made me feel badass, and I don't usually feel badass in games. So
if there's one thing VR does well, it's the shooting simulator.
Yes.
Like, I've played quite a few of them so far on PSVR. So I've done Super Hot VR, which I highly recommend, Doom VFR, which is fantastic as well, and Farpoint, which was mediocre-ish, but Super Hot is fucking incredible in VR. I mean, that's just an amazing experience.
But the thing is, Super Hot was great.
Yeah, totally.
And so VR it's
even better in VR. It's truly amazing. But yeah, it's the problem is you're like a similar time frame to me, Chris, with VR. I think we've had it about the same amount of time, and it's like I'm starting to feel now that I need a bit more from these VR experiences than just the shooters. The shooters are great, and sometimes that's all you want to do is blow things up, and it feels fantastic in VR. But I'm now hoping and praying that the platform is going to start evolving, and that we're going to start getting experiences that are a little bit different and that use the technology more engaging and interesting ways. That's the hope.
I think there are a couple of genres that just naturally spring to mind when you think what would be a good VR game. Any sort of first-person RPG, I think, would be good. I'm not sure I'm willing to pay whatever it is for Skyrim VR, particularly when there's a free mod that can do it with a bit of bodging. Plus, there's 5 different editions of Skyrim now, including the Alexa version.
At least,
you know. But I think RPGs will work well. I would like to see. I can only imagine that anything involving flight can only be good on VR. I think that would be cool.
I'm just not sure, because you're gonna get problems with motion sickness, aren't you?
Yes.
Problem with flight.
I mean, I will. I got motion sickness from Minecraft, so I can't say anything about motion sickness.
It's tricky, isn't it? It seems like such a cool technology, but the issue with
the best experience for me would be like a VR game sat in a cupboard.
Well, actually, you say that. If you play Minecraft VR, you've got 2 modes. You can either play as yourself in the Minecraft world, or you can play as yourself sat on a sofa, controlling your avatar on a massive screen in front of you.
Brilliant. I like the idea. Richard's just described Peeping Tom VR.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just going to be sat there looking through the Venetian blinds, going, "Oh yeah, undress for me, lovely." Like that. That's the game Richard wants to play in VR. It's not just his normal Friday night or anything. I promise. It's not. I swear.
I think I'll tell you what I think would really work in VR. And I'll link this to my review of Fugue in Void, which is a walking simulator. I'm not going to do a full cover of it here. Basically, it's good. Not sure if it was a university project though. Either way, you know, the talent on show is nice, but it doesn't feel like I mean, obviously it's a walking simulator, but it doesn't feel like a product in that sort of sense. But I think things like that, walking sims and stuff like that, that they are screaming out for VR. Absolutely.
I'm trying to think. I feel like some have been VRified, but I
think a couple have been. But the problem is the VR field at the moment it's very much still at the very early experimental stage. There are a couple of people going out and doing the really big games. But a lot of the stuff that I see is, I mean, I'm obviously looking at the moment in the lower price brackets. I can't afford the 40, 50 quid ones. But there's a lot of very interesting ideas, but like you, I think I'm just waiting for, okay, we've done this now. Let's make this bigger. Let's see how far, let's push the boundaries a little bit.
I'm just wondering if we're going to get it. I'm just wondering if already it's imploding. People are talking about it a lot less and it's already shrinking, and yeah, studios may be pivoting away from it already. I don't know. I hope they commit a bit more, and push it through to the next level. Or is it just another fad like 3D TVs were? You know,
VR's a bit like Sherlock Holmes. It pops up around about once every 10 years with something supposedly new, and then disappears for a bit.
I think until it's a pair of glasses or a headset like in Ready Player One, which is with haptic suits and treadmills that everybody can afford, and it can be universal, and it's super easy to understand. Until it gets to that point, I feel like there's always going to be too much of a barrier for people to actually to invest in it.
Yeah, I mean, and also the thing is, there's a lot of VR stuff that I've played, and I think that was good in VR, but I can't see it being any worse without the headset. There's very few things that I've played that I think the headset actively, properly made the game for me. There's a couple, but
I'm going to quickly touch upon the other game I reviewed before we get into the big two that I've played, and I hope you guys have got some questions for me regarding the two of them. But first of all, I just wanted to mention Planet Alpha. Full review is available on the site. That went up this week. It's Team 17's 100th game.
Ooh.
Which is kind of amazing when you think about those guys. And remember when you were a kid, you just thought of them as the dudes that made Worms.
Yeah.
They've now published 100 games, and it's a side-scrolling, jumping sort of adventure game. You know, so you just got some light platforming, a few bits of puzzles. It's got please check out my video or some screenshots, because it is gorgeous. It is absolutely stunning, this game. It's all, you're this like unnamed astronaut stranded on an alien world, and it's the most vibrant, colorful, varied environments you can imagine in this kind of game. So imagine it's like the polar opposite of Inside and Limbo. Like that type of gameplay, but instead of dour and dark and moody, it's vibrant and colorful and 50s sci-fi and just beautiful. And that's easily its biggest selling point, and it's super inviting because of it. However, and I do compare it to Inside quite a bit as I play the game, because Inside was one of my big games of that year. However, it doesn't have that engaging story and narrative and its central mystery that pulls you in. There is a story, there is a bit of a mystery going on, and it's told mostly through environmental storytelling, actually kind of entirely through environmental storytelling. And it's interesting enough. I just found it wasn't enough of a kind of a hook to make me sort of enjoy the game on that next level. Like the platforming and the mobility and all of that is fine. The controls feel fine. It doesn't do anything particularly new. It's 100% its standout is its look. If you just want a fairly linear, well, very linear, simple enough experience with a beautiful look to it, Planet Alpha is a good example of the genre. You know, it's a good example, if not a great one. So yeah, any questions on Planet Alpha? No. Everybody's gone really quiet. No. Should I just talk about Spider-Man then?
Yeah. Look, we're all just waiting for it. Just
man, is it good? I'm just gonna be really different to what everyone else is saying. No, I'm not. It's flipping brilliant. Like, it's so beautiful, and it feels so good to swing around New York. And it has to be the best representation of New York in a video game I have ever seen. it is like you are there, and it is just the lighting. Like, so there's a day-night cycle, but instead of it being sort of systematic, it cues off based on story moments. So, you know, you'll get to a mission, it'll be like, now this one's setting nighttime, and then you'll do some stuff in the open world, and you'll do another mission. It's now this is in the morning, or this is at dusk, or this is at sunset, you know. So you have all these different lighting environments that all make the city look and feel different as you're going around it. And it's a small thing, but man, does it help make you feel like you're there. And it's absolutely joyous. Spider-Man is at his quippy best, but it's balanced well. I'm still quite early on, but the storytelling is really good. It's another first-party PlayStation experience. So by that I mean it's a cinematic storytelling experience. You know, like we had with God of War, like we had with Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, they really doubled down on the digital acting, the quality voice acting, the experience like you have just gone and watched a Marvel movie. You know, it really conveys that incredibly well. The combat's great. It's sort of like the Arkham system, but expanded upon with lots of Spider-Man's elements. So more web control based stuff, swinging in the combat, webbing people up, using gadgets. You know, this is Peter Parker that doesn't have bodily fluid web. Fucking Sam Raimi, you creepy fuck. Like, what was that? You weirdo. No, he's also a brilliant scientist. He invents his web shooters. You know, that's the whole fucking point. But yeah, it's just glorious, guys. Like, it's the Spider-Man game you always wanted and didn't know you wanted if you're not into Spider-Man. You know, it's like, it's a brilliant, brilliant experience. It just feels, man, I'm just swinging around. I just unlocked like the ability to do tricks. So you can just, while swinging, you just let go and you're like, I'm going to just do a bunch of flips and twists and shit because I'm a cool motherfucker. And it's like Tony Hawk meets Spider-Man. It's brilliant. You get points for them and a bit of XP. It's just for being a badass. And it's so much, the combat feels good. Yeah, the story, all the rogues galleries in there. The first boss fight you have, it's not a spoiler, it's Kingpin. So it all kind of comes from that. And then I don't know how much you know your Marvel stuff, Chris. I don't know if you're a comic book nerd like myself, but
not a nerd, but I know a bit.
Yeah, I mean, but it's Spider-Man. Everybody knows Spider-Man. You'll know the Vulture, you'll know Doc Ock, you'll know the Green Goblin. You know, you'll recognize these people, and they're all in there. And yeah, it's just great. It's just really, really good. Like, honestly.
Oh man, I've got to buy it now.
You really do need to buy it. If you have a PlayStation 4, guys, you need to get this game. Like, you really, it's like, do you remember that amazing Spider-Man 2 game that came out on the fucking Xbox PS2 generation that everybody loved with a swing? It's like that, but in 2018. So just imagine everything you loved from that, the mobility, the swinging, the traversal, just modernized, polished to a high sheen, and just released at the pinnacle of AAA. Like, it's a fabulous game. It's something I could absolutely killed it. As we kind of knew they would. Like, I don't think anybody expected this not to be awesome. And it is as awesome as we thought it would be.
I did wonder how much they would put their own stamp on it, because it does kind of look like a knockoff of the Rocksteady.
There's enough difference. Like, there's quite a lot of complexity to the combat. There's a whole long move list about things you can do. And what feels so great is that it actually starts to come quite natural. Once you understand the basics, you're doing things like your spider sense will go off and you'll do a little combat roll to avoid the gunshot. You'll combat roll onto the wall, and then you'll do an attack off the wall that'll strike an enemy. And then you'll do a swing attack that'll launch an enemy, which you'll then combo into a sort of a multiple attack string off of him. As you're coming down, you're webbing a third enemy to the ground, and then you're landing and you're doing a web shoot out to like an object in the environment, which you swing around your head and hit another enemy in the face with. And all of that will happen completely naturally. You know, I've only put a few hours in. I'm not like a master at this game, but I'm doing moves like this just by experimenting with the combat and in the sort of environments I find myself in. And it just comes together, and you string it together, and you look back and you go, and then everybody's dead. Nobody's landed a hit on you. You feel like a complete motherfucking badass, and you're just stood there going, photo mode, time for a selfie. Damn, son, owned your ass, like that. And it's just so Spider-Man. It's great. It's great. I'm enjoying it so much more than God of War. Like, I appreciate how good God of War is, but man, that's one dour fucking game. Like, this has got so much joy in its heart. Like, it's just vibrant and it's just great. This is what I want from video games, you know? So much good. So good. So good. So about the other big elephant in the room. A little expansion came out for Destiny 2 called Forsaken. And
it's out now.
And it's made Destiny 2 the game it should have been at launch, basically.
Where have we had that before?
Yeah, exactly the same thing happened with a little expansion called The Taken King in Destiny 1. It's very, very good, though. It's very, very good. The combat has never felt better. The weapons that have been introduced with Forsaken feel meaty. They brought in a bow and arrow, and I was like, what? How's that going to work? And yet it feels amazing. Like the way, so there's a subtle rumble in the controller when you pull the arrow back and then it locks into position before you release it. And it's all give feedback through the controller and it just feels powerful. And then it basically,
Destiny 1 had a bow.
Yeah, but this is a regular primary weapon that you can use as your primary, kinetic weapon. Yeah. And you hold and you pull it back, and most of the time, if you're fighting an enemy on your level equivalents, a headshot will be an instant kill. If they're not shielded. So you just feel you're just clearing like one headshot after another, super accurate. They can be explosive tipped bows. You feel like you feel like fucking Green Arrow. Or what's another? A Hawkeye or something. You just feel like a complete fucking badass with that bow and arrow. And nobody thought that would work. And yet it plays so damn well. They've obviously play tested it and tuned it and balanced it really, really nicely. The amount of content in this game, in Forsaken, is quite impressive as well. I've put in probably 3 solid sessions of about 3 or 4 hours each, and I'm yet to finish the story. Which I think makes it might actually be longer than the story was in base Destiny 2. Like the actual main story. And this is in this DLC content. I'm feeling very much like right now my money has been very well spent on this expansion. It's truly engaging. I've got in with an active clan as well that are playing it a lot. A bunch of old people from Xbox, so shout out to you guys if you were listening. But it's really, really good. The Baron stuff, the Cade storyline. There's so much content in the new public event area. There's new strikes in there. There's going to be a new raid coming this week. They increased the power level from 30 to 50, and they increased they increased the level from 30 to 50, and the power level, the soft cap from 400 to 600. So there's a huge new runway of stuff to do. So you feel like there's lots more to unlock. Lots more to do and engage within the game now. The way they've put in collections and triumphs so you can track your progress in minute detail through all kinds of different metrics. So you can basically go on there and go, today, I'm going to tick these boxes. So you can set yourself tasks and goals for the experiences that you want to give yourself while playing Destiny. It's a very, very smart update. Like, they've done a lot of good here. I'm really impressed.
What does it mean for the old stuff as someone who bought the season pass and hasn't touched either of the previous?
It's all there. It's all still in there. I mean,
is it relevant?
You can play it all. I mean, it will help you level up and help you get power levels and work towards clan XP and everything. It's still good. I mean, when they've increased the power level, it means drops which are relevant to you you might still get drops from the old content, and they'll all still increase your power level. So it's great when you're playing a game like this, because when the power levels increase, because everything you're getting is helping increase your level. And that feedback is so positive. When I was playing before the release, I put hours in, and I felt like I clawed maybe 3 power levels out over like 10, 15 hours of play. Like I hit such a wall that it wasn't fun. It was a grind, and now the grind is fun again. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's very, very good. Very, very good. Chris, have you never experienced any Destiny?
Nope. Nope. There is nothing more to say on that one. Nope.
Fair enough, boss. Fair enough. Can't argue with that at all. Richard, you got anything else on your list? No, not a great deal. The Wolf Among Us, have you finished it?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's worth talking about really, but I did finish it.
Did you enjoy it?
It was okay.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that. Chris, you've got
Telltale game, isn't it? Everyone.
Telltale tells tales about telling tales.
Yeah.
Chris, you've got a bunch of crap on your list here, buddy.
I do. I'm trying to pick one because unfortunately,
talk about your weird obsession with simulators and how it's basically what the majority of the things you do on YouTube and stream, and how you basically just seem to play. What was it that one I said? Euro Truck Simulator. I've always been kind of weirdly curious about that. And what's this bus driver? I mean, what the fuck is bus driver?
Bus driver.
I'm guessing you drive buses.
Yes, yes. Bus driver. I got bored one night and just sort of turned it on.
What you were going to say? Turned it off then? That would have made sense as well.
I think I got that as part of an SCS bundle at some point because it's all that Euro Truck Simulator 2, all that sort of stuff. They're all made by the same developer. And yeah, I just thought, what the heck? Let's just give it a go. No, Euro Trucks. The thing that got me into Euro Trucks was when we started doing it for the YouTube channel. Because I'm a massive Top Gear fan, and I loved the idea of doing the across Europe races. And so that's what we did. And then I actually started, once we'd done that, though, which were really fun. And then I started sort of playing it properly, I guess, by trying to trying to run the business and stuff. It's yeah, I mean, I enjoy simulators. I do enjoy simulators. Train sim is a specific one for me because I like trains.
You were on some classic trains recently, weren't you?
I was, yes.
Pretty cool, man.
Yeah. We actually went to the Great Central Railway. Charlie treated me out to a day out, which was absolutely lovely. And yeah, we actually got to visit some, which was odd because I recognized, and this is going to me sound really sad, I recognized one of the locomotives. I actually recognized its number because back in my hometown, it was on the railway that we have there. And awesome. I thought it was ours, but apparently not. But yeah, no, I do enjoy simulators. I don't know why. I've always enjoyed them.
It's a huge thing because we get offered things here like Farm Sim to review and stuff like that.
Send it this way.
Yep, I will do it from now on. Trust me. And in Europe, especially, I remember when I visited Gamescom in 2007. It's like the sim market in places like Germany. It is an incredibly popular genre of video games, and I guess it comes down to the desire of, well, experiencing a career or a job that you maybe, like the idea of as a kid, like, I don't know, fire engines you're interested in or things like that. Yeah. And being able, trucks and stuff. And you get to then experience that in a pretty realistic style. So I can I can understand it. I can dig it. For me, that comes, I kind of live out those fantasies. I'm big on the management games to do with things like SimCity and those kind of colony management games I'm talking about, and that sort of level of stuff. I really enjoy those kind of games. I just got an aquarium simulator from the guys that I'm going to be looking at, which is the guys who made Big Pharma. Nice. So I'm going to check that out probably for like next week as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed those kind of games, and that's very similar, I guess, but it's more abstract. It's pulled back a bit.
I mean, fundamentally, every single game, if you look at it from its most basic point, every single game is a simulation of something. Yeah. You are just, the fact that trains and buses and lorries are called train sim, bus sim, that sort of stuff, makes it no different than the fact that, let's face it, Tomb Raider was Lara Croft simulator. It gave you the chance to be that. FIFA is football simulator or Twitch fodder, whichever way you decide to look at it. So yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, one of my big things is traveling. I love traveling, and it just so happens that to do that, you tend to need some sort of vehicle, and they tend to be in games that are simulator based rather than, unless you count Ocarina of Time as traveling a lot. Was it Ocarina of Time when there was a lot of sailing in it? Was that was Ocarina of Time, wasn't it?
No,
Wind Waker.
Ocarina of Time was time travel, wasn't it? That was the one manipulating time.
Yeah. Again, this could lose me a lot of points here. Me and Zelda don't really get on.
Me neither. Yeah. Other than the Switch, Breath of the Wild, do not have a history with Zelda. Do not have a history with Zelda at all. Or Mario. Like that, I'm going to admit, we got a bit of a black hole with Mario. Like you, Chris, though, I kind of got into gaming through PS1 that era. Yeah. I didn't get into Nintendo until much later. So I dig it. I mean,
the oldest video game I ever played was I did once because we had the old Atari tape playing.
Oh yeah.
And we played the Lord of the Rings game on that, which the furthest they ever got was my parents eventually managed to they found a potting shed stuck somewhere in the old forest, and it had an orc rock band playing in it. And that was about as interesting as they got. Oh, there was that one time they spent about an hour getting out of Bag End, because it was all all that. It was a very difficult game. Apparently, I'm gonna do a live stream of it at some point just for the fuck of it, because it's all on the archive. You can find it all over the internet. And they got it. They spent about an hour getting out of Bag End. They finally got out, and they looked around, and it said, "You see an open window." So Dad said, "Oh, great, we'll climb in the window, have an explore." You find yourself back in Bag End, and could they fucking get out? Unfortunately, gentlemen, I do have to go very soon because we're setting up for this holiday tomorrow. So unfortunately, I probably won't make it to the very end.
No, we're gonna start wrapping now anyway.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I just want to tell one last story about my family in game, which might introduce sort of where my gaming stuff comes from. And my grandma, God bless her, no, my great grandma, in fact, when they first got a console back in the day, they said to her, "Do you want to have a go at this game?" "Oh yeah, what's it called?" "Space Invaders." So she was like, "Okay, yeah." Now bear in mind, this is deepest, darkest black country. This is Willenhall, Darlaston, that sort of Warsaw area of the country.
I used to live near Warsaw. That was a knowing groan.
Yeah, my dad would agree with you. He worked there for far too many years, he would say. But my grandma kept losing, and we said, "You do not," my parents said, "You know what you're doing." She said, "Oh, I don't understand why I'm losing. I keep catching all the things them dropping." Like, no, those are bombs.
Catching
so,
them. Anyway, catching.
Yeah, that's basically it's filtered down to me, basically.
And if you want to see more of that, make sure you check out Chris on his Twitch channel, in which he does try to catch all the bombs, mostly in Skyrim.
Yes, yeah, it's very true.
For some reason, he's collecting the arrows in his knees. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think I've got a mod where there's just a quiver through my knee. It just makes sense.
Why fight it? Just give in.
I like to keep it with the law,
Yeah, that's absolutely makes sense a lot. And I think that mostly brings us to the end of episode 54, am I correct? Yes, 54 of Bxb'S Bits and Bobs. I think that was a really good one, guys. Chris, you did very well, mate. I hope you want to join us again in another couple of weeks.
Yeah, I should be there.
Fantastic. Richard, how's your podcast been?
Much better. Thank you for Chris coming along.
You're welcome.
Taking some of the pressure off. Yeah, it's been a good one.
Yeah, otherwise I make Richard dance for our entertainment. You might not get that in the audio version. He's just silently weeping and dancing while I'm talking in the background. It's quite soul destroying, but it turns out he's got some moves for a middle-aged white guy. It really, really does. But yeah, that's been great having you, Chris. So bxbgames.co.uk is the website. Bxb Games on YouTube, Bxb Games on Facebook, Bxb Games on Twitter. Chris can also be found at, you do it, I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, youtube.com/HumbleGamerTube, twitch.tv/HumbleGamerTwitch, and at HumbleGamerInsta on Instagram, and Facebook.com/TheHumbleGamer.
If you do like this version of the podcast, the video version, please give us a like and a subscribe and all of that crap. Also, it's on iTunes. Rate us on there. Give us 5 stars. If you give us any less, I will block your ass. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest here. That, I don't want anything but positivity here, people. That's the way it is. So yeah, come back in a couple of weeks' time. Games are starting to come out. Like, there's some stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks. We've got Tomb Raider. I think Forza's not that far off. There's a bunch of big releases coming. I always do this at the end of the episode without any preparation. So I can't remember any of the games that are coming out of the top of my head, but I know there are games. There's always games. So I'll be having an ADIOS Amigo review for you guys at least. There'll be a review of this. I can't remember what it's called now. The aquarium game that's came from the Big Pharma guys. I might do something for Detached if I can bring myself to play a multiplayer game by myself. But we'll see. Thank you very much again, Chris, for coming along. It's been awesome, man. Really good fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. And Rich, as always, my man, let's say it together. Goodbye.
Bye.